Waghmar,
So there was
you're
nothing.
saying that there is a lot of introspection that Iran also has to do in this entire situation. But let me also understand from you, Burzine Waghmar. The supreme leader of Iran today called for unity among Muslim nations, for Islamic unity to fight against Israel. And so far, we haven't seen very many Islamic nations across West Asia come out overtly in support of Iran. There are a few. There are others like Saudi Arabia and Jordan who have not come out fully in support. Do you think that's going to happen? And why do you think that they're not coming out in outright support of Iran in this entire war?
They have not and will not, for the most obvious of reasons that these are predominantly Sunni countries. Now, it's not sectarianism. Let me hasten to add that is, they wish to make capital of the fact that Israel is attacking a Shia, albeit fellow Muslim. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the fact that Iran has been an existential threat to all GCC states. And the entire Arabian Peninsula at large, and through North Africa, where there are Sunni countries, since 1979, where it has instigated instability and fomented Islamist radicals to topple those very countries. So there is a history of this going back to the Iran-Iraq war, which started on the heels of the 79 revolution, and that Iran instigating coups in Bahrain in 81, the Hajj riots in Saudi Arabia in 87, and even now with the Houthi proxies, Shreya, a few years ago, Houthi drones supplied by Iran attempting to blow up Riyadh International Airport, for instance, which was unsuccessful. To give you just one example, so despite President Pezeshkian meeting his Riyadh counterparts and people saying they're going to turn a new chapter, the Saudis have not forgotten. Nor has Abu Dhabi, the UAE, which knows that Iran is occupying UAE Emirati territory in the Persian Gulf with the Abu Musa and the Tomb Islands since the 70s. So there is a history of all this that Iran has instigated and does continue. It's wedded to the concept of Islamic revolution abroad as part of Khamenei's doctrine when he came into power with the Islamic revolution. And all of them are wary about that. And not just the Arabian Peninsula, which is predominantly Sunni, but also other Sunni states elsewhere, like in the Southeast Asian region, like Indonesia and Malaysia, who have been cagey about Iran. They may be cordial about it, but they are cagey in their relations with Tehran on that aspect. That must be borne in mind at all times. And therefore, they do not share Iran's enthusiasm. Sure. They may have grievances about the Palestinians and their condition and to find a political solution to this impasse over the last 7+ decades. True. But that does not mean they wish to see Iran decimated or wiped off the face of the map, which is what only Tehran calls for. Amman, Riyadh, Bahrain, others do not go down the path of such flagrant rhetoric and rabid anti-Semitism by calling Israel a cancer and such intemperate language, which Khamenei flourishes because that's the only way he can rule the roost with a discredited regime at home, given domestic turmoil and instability which has racked Iran for so long. And he has to make a stance to demonstrate some distraction.
Burzine Waghmar, then let me understand from you, how do you see this moving forward for Iran? The fact that the supreme leader came out today, he's urged people to be united against the war against Israel, but there is of course lack of support as well. How do you see this really moving forward, particularly for Iran?
Very good question, Shreya. In the last few hours, it can be bifurcated in two ways. Khamenei flexing with a gun and such intemperate rhetoric, as I pointed out, in the Friday prayers in central Tehran. But at the same time, Foreign Minister Arakchi arriving in Beirut, he is trying to, not ruffle feathers by and making a pronouncement to the effect that Tehran would help Beirut find a diplomatic solution to the issue. Obviously, southern Beirut is being pounded by Israel, and there are not one too many Lebanese who are complaining, and have bitterly complained of this week that it was Iran that has instigated this, the anti-Hezbollah factions across the Lebanese political spectrum, and that's why he had to fly in to allay some of them as such, and therefore he seems to demonstrate a putative softening, but that's just this Iranian mannequin attitude that they want to flex, and at the same time they want to dial the temperature, dial down. But at the same time, we know what their intentions are, and Israel is not going to be fooled about it. And Israel is determined to show that it
All
can
right.
take the pain, which is what it is doing with all guns blazing.